Former President Donald Trump indicted again, this time on charges related to the Capitol riot.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came out. Look. Except it is like highly confidential. Secret.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
You gotta get them on, Pat. You gotta get them on.
Great to be here.
You gotta get them on, Pat. You gotta get them on. Get them on, 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 get them on,
No.
get them on, For the people that don't know, if you can take a quick moment, you got a massive YouTube channel. You got billions of views online. Your mom supports some socialism or no?
No.
You like the fact that U.S. is liked more today?
No.
Think Hillary's good?
Did I say that? No.
But you're saying that the middle voter doesn't matter at all?
No. Tangent. Keep going. Tangent.
Seriously?
Keep going. Tangent. Keep going. Tangent.
Seriously?
Keep going.
What are you talking about? Keep going.
What are you talking about?
Keep going. What are you talking about? Keep going. What are you talking about? That's insane.
What? Failure. Patrick. Failure. What are you talking about? What? Failure.
That's not it.
Patrick. I think you're missing the picture.
I'm smelling bad. I'm not shaking.
You're not really doing this, are you?
And I think it's
Is
that an energy drink now?
It is owned by Tesla, by the way. It's Elon's drink. No, it's not. I don't. But
Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your television. It is really 2023, and for the first time in history, a president is being indicted and will face criminal charges. This is all just such great news.
I was proven even more right than I would have ever imagined, because apparently, is actually indicting my father. So,
Great orange leader. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe prayer does work.
this is like communist level shit. 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 This is like communist level shit.
Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy. Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy.
This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit.
I think that's about all we need to hear. I agree. That is all we need to hear. Welcome, everybody. I am streaming. I am live. We are standing by for President Joe Biden's national address on the situation with Hamas and Israel. And I'll tell you a little bit in a few minutes of what I expect to hear, why I think Joe Biden is doing this tonight and sort of what he plans to say. But there is so much to talk about surrounding this situation. Some of it involves the show, most of it does not. And it is also just great to be here, given the circumstances of what's going on with the YouTube channel, which I'm also going to address. Many people writing to me and saying, sir, why are you streaming tonight? Isn't there a big risk? You've got the 2 copyright strikes. I'm going to discuss all of it. But there is, let me tell you right now, I have no interest whatsoever in pinching off the stream early. That's for damn sure. I've got the hair light going. It's working absolutely perfectly. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, this is not good. This is not good. No, all right, let's get the lights going again. I'm not planning on pinching off the stream early on any of the platforms we are on. I hope everybody is standing back and standing by because there will be much of importance discussed today. Let's start with the circumstances of the stream. As some of you know, I covered the first and second Republican presidential debates on Fox News. We covered them live, and I said that there was some risk that Fox News would drop the hammer on me, and they didn't right away, but retrospectively, Fox News has hit me with 2 copyright strikes. Now, you're only allowed 3 at a time on YouTube. We have filed counterclaims. We're doing absolutely everything that we can to get rid of these strikes. But as of right now, if the White House, which is the feed we're going to be using, if the White House were to copyright strike me, I did everything right and they struck me, we would be done. It would be the end of the YouTube channel, which would be crazy. Now, these presidential addresses are completely public domain. We've assessed with our legal experts and celebrity lawyers, and Camille Vasquez is now advising me actually on copyright, which is completely out of her area of expertise, but she's just wants to advise. It seems that the risk is extraordinarily low because this is a public domain event. So we're here. I can't say with certitude whether I will be covering the November 8th Republican debate. If we can get at least one of these strikes cleared, the next debate is not on Fox News, fortunately, but I can't be at the point where the next strike would be it when covering one of those debates. I, of course, believe that we are doing a transformative, fair use, public service, educational, blah, 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 blah. When we do the debates, that's an argument you would make in a court of law, which is not the place where I want to spend my time. I want to spend my time in the studio and obviously on the golf course. No, I'm just kidding. I don't play golf. So anyway, I'll let everybody know, but my hope is that at least one of those strikes will have been successfully fought and dismissed by November 8th. So we are here. And the reason that the coupon code today is FFOX is because of the 2 copyright strikes. Now, I see the super chats coming in. Let's just start with this super chat and then we're going to go backwards. I'm Mikey says, Hamas is not the Palestinians. Remember that going forward. The video title today was not a good look. Glad it was changed. So I actually completely disagree with this. I did a video which published at 4 p.m. Eastern. The original title was Palestinians Bomb Their Own Hospital. Israel is blamed. A bunch of people flipped out. And so we changed it to Hamas bombed their own hospital. Israel was blamed. We actually aren't sure that it was Hamas. We're sure it was Palestinians, either Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Both are Palestinian. We don't know that it was Hamas definitively. People, and this really gets me into the problem that we're experiencing right now. People are absolutely furious with me for really idiotic things. It's more accurate to say that it was Palestinians that bombed their own hospital, because if it was Hamas, it would be Palestinians. And if it was Palestinian Islamic Jihad, it would be Palestinians. We were essentially bullied into changing the title to say Hamas bombed their own hospital. That title may be wrong, but some people are happier. And this really gets me to what we've seen over the, and not to mention, I don't think it's a Hamas-run hospital. So people have bullied me into a less accurate title. Congratulations. Okay. So listen, here's what's going on. The last 12 days, I guess it's been, have really reinforced that my decision to spend a lot less time on social media, which was not it was foisted upon me with the destruction of Twitter by Elon Musk, where I said, this is really a waste of time. I'm not going to spend much time on here. And I'm spending almost no time on Threads or Blue Ski or any of them. Every once in a while, I'll put up a message and that's basically it. It is absolutely better for the show, and it's better psychologically to spend very little time responding to the minute to minute. And if we look at the Monday afternoon, or was it Tuesday? Now I've lost track of I guess Tuesday afternoon. The tweets or excretions from so many people on the left and on the right about the Gaza hospital attack and the misinformation and disinformation that was published makes me feel so good that when I looked around 4 p.m. at what was being said, I said, there are things being said where they can't all be true. Some of the things being said have to be wrong because they're 180 degrees opposite. Let me wait. Let me go back to reading some of the books I'm reading. Let me go back to working on my forthcoming book. Let me go back to, marketing the new children's book or whatever else. And then the next day, as things started to settle, I didn't have to be first. I wanted to be right. I came to all of you and I said, initially Israel was blamed. The evidence is very shaky. We don't yet know who's responsible. That's what's going on. The people telling you they know for sure know nothing more about rockets than I know. You had people sent me these videos of people who, again, they just sit in a room with a mic like I do, saying, here's what a rocket would sound like if it was this or that, or, these people don't know anything more than I know. So I said, I'll give you more information tomorrow. And even right now in the chat, there are people coming in here, and what I know 95% of you, I've said nothing controversial so far. I've said waiting is good, getting all the information is good. And there are people right now attacking me for what I'm saying I'm pro-genocide. What are you talking about? It's a sickness. You're sick. It seems like some of these folks are terminally online, determined to be first and to place blame where we don't even know where the blame should go. Now that we have more information, and it turns out there were no 500 dead, there were no 700 dead, there were no 900 dead. And we've seen analysis of open source intelligence from actual experts in democracies where if you're wrong, there are repercussions. I am comfortable saying that unless some unimaginable new information comes forward, it was either Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad who bombed their own hospital, the Gazan hospital. Now, is this a win for anybody? No, this isn't a win for anybody. Anybody who's happy, what is there to be happy about? Either way, there was disregard for civilian life. Either way, this is all very bad. And what we should all be happy, everybody should be rejoicing that 500 people didn't die. And instead, the internet is filled with people just attacking others or moving the goalposts or whatever. We should all be glad that the report that there were 500 to 1,000 killed, it was probably close to zero. I don't know if it was zero, but when you look at, there's this tiny little hole, and then it looks like some cars were on fire, and hopefully everybody got away from the cars. It was in the parking lot of the hospital. That's what the reaction should be. Thank Xenu or Jesus or Moses or Muhammad or Allah or the flying spaghetti monster or light or physics. Thank whatever you want that 500 people didn't actually die and that those reports were wrong. And by the way, this was one of the biggest failures by corporate media that we have seen in a long time. I mean, you could see the disinformation filtering through in real time. Even the New York Times. I like the New York Times. initially saying 500 killed by Israeli airstrike, 500 killed by Israeli airstrike, according to Hamas. Blame is being traded about the hospital strike. You saw it shifting in real time. And people on Twitter are going after each other toxically. It's all really the worst of corporate media. It's the worst of all of it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to tolerate Islamophobia or anti-Semitism in the chat. So moderators, please, please, please just ban them, okay? People calling for the destruction of Gaza or Israel, ban the hell out of them, okay? We're just not going to tolerate it. It's just not what we're doing. Now, in terms of what's been going on elsewhere with streamers, I know people have been asking me to talk about what Stephen Kenneth Destiny Banal Goranson II has been saying about this. I don't know what he's been saying because I've been too busy to watch any of that. People sent me videos of Hassan Piker. The only thing I've had time to watch is a video from, it was the day where the news of this broke. I saw 30 seconds of Hassan screaming at people who were, I don't know what he was reacting to. It was either chat or I don't know what it was. He was reacting to something and basically saying there is no doubt in the world that Israel did this and did this on purpose. If that were true, I would be here condemning it. It happens to be that it was completely wrong. I don't know whether Hassan has apologized or it's not a question of apology. It's, has he issued a correction? Can anybody tell me? Has Hassan issued a correction on this? Nobody knows. He has corrected it. Perfect. Perfect. He's walked it back. Fantastic. Great. Credit to Hassan. He was wrong and he corrected it. What else can we ask for, right? So listen, this is sort of where we find ourselves today. Now, I'm not going to lie. I got many nice emails from people saying, David, I feel absolutely terrible about what's been going on. Whatever. I don't need people's sympathy. I'll just tell you what's been going on. About 80 people have canceled paid memberships since I've started my coverage of the Hamas-Israel war, conflict, whatever you want to call it. About 80 people. That's way more than the sort of like background level of cancellation. I don't need anybody to cry for me. Okay, we're okay. When I went to my audience and I said what was happening, and I said, I find it a little strange that because someone perceives a disagreement with me, often there really is no disagreement, but sometimes people perceive a disagreement, you cancel your paid membership. That's fine. That's everybody's right to do it. It's fine. Thankfully, about 500 people have signed up and written to me and said, David, I don't normally support anything, but I signed up because I think what's happening is just ridiculous. It's not in the progressive spirit. People can come to different conclusions than you've come to, but you've laid out why your views are what they are as a progressive. And so it's okay. It's all right. 80 people canceled, 500 signed up, and here we are, and we continue forward. But what I am as confident about as ever, it's that I need to do, now some people might not like who I'm about to say, okay? I need to do what Cenk Uygur told me I should do 7 years ago, when there was some controversy about something. And what Cenk Uygur said is, you got to tune out the noise and do the stories the way you want to do them, and do them the way you believe them. Now, people can make critiques now of, Cenk is wrong for running for president, or Cenk got the hospital strike wrong. It was just good advice. It's not a commentary on anything Cenk is saying now. All I can really do is do the stories the way I want to do them and let the chips fall where they may. Where they fell is that nearly, 80, 85, nearly 100 people said, I'm going to cancel my paid membership. I don't like what you said. Fine. And nearly 500 people said, I actually respect what you're doing and I'm going to sign up. The other thing I think is important to mention is some of the emails that have been coming in, and we get so many emails now that the team has to triage them, and I kind of get a summary of, here's like the gist of what's being said. Here's a couple sample emails. Much of what's being said that is a little disheartening is people saying, David, you should be saying what X, Y, and Z are saying about this. Why? Why do I have to say the same thing as everybody else? What? Just why? There can be opinion statements and statements of fact. I don't believe I've gotten any of the facts wrong. And to the extent that I have, I will correct facts I've gotten wrong. Why do I have to say the same thing as everybody else? And by the way, what's the point of watching 4, 5, or 6 shows where everybody says the exact same thing? I just don't really get it. It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to keep doing the stories the way I want to do them. People may like it. People may dislike it. It is what it is. All right. Speaking of which, I want to say thank you to David Tracer as well as Thomas Phillips, who just signed up on my website. So we have this coupon code FFOX. Fox has us on the ropes. They've given us 2 copyright strikes. If I get one more, the YouTube channel is over. If that happens, I will have to not fire a lawyer. I'll have to hire a lawyer. Unlike Trump, I will be forced to prepay with a retainer. And hopefully it doesn't come to that. So a couple things you can do. Obviously, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I believe the bigger the channel is, the more clout we would in theory have to argue that we are being wronged by these strikes. And certainly you can sign up on the website. Coupon code is FFOX. And we're going to be following up about all of these different things as we go, as we stand by for Joe Biden. If you're just joining us, Joe Biden is scheduled to speak at the top of the hour. Now, let's do some super chats first, and then we'll get to some of these other things, okay? Sid says, sir, sending you money with tears in my eyes. Seriously, appreciate your coverage of this terrible conflict. Screw the haters. Thanks, Sid. L. Lorraine sending a $25 super chat. And DC says, sir, you're working in a field prone to extreme toxic negative online interactions. How do you maintain your mental health? What advice for others who are affected, even on the sidelines? I will give you the advice that is what I am currently doing. The best thing that you can do is limit the amount of news that you are consuming minute to minute. And I've even said this to friends and family where they are exasperated, saying, I heard one thing and then another, and then I watched CNN and there was a bomb and there was a hospital. What I said is, if you're not in a position to do anything about some of these things, you're actually not helping yourself by breathlessly following the minute to minute. The hospital incident is a great example. Wait till the next day and go to as close to primary sources as you can find that are doing reporting, and then you can start to sort out what it is that took place. Spend time outdoors, spend time reading, spend time doing. It is not particularly useful. And I schedule breaks from this stuff for myself. I actually, on the weekends, I don't even pay attention to the news unless I'm covering something. I was at the gym and a friend of mine texted and said, did you see, this is October 7th, did you see what happened in Israel? And I said, I have no idea what happened in Israel. I don't pay attention to the news for health reasons over the weekends. I would suggest people adopt something along those lines. Andrew says, Jeffries needs to find 5 votes to become speaker. Give me a break. Love you, David. Keep up the good work. Yeah, maybe we can make Hakeem Jeffries speaker. I'll talk about that in a moment. Takar says Hassan Piker was on Piers Morgan earlier today, said he still believes it was most likely Israel that intentionally bombed the hospital, but he doesn't say Israel did it for sure. That's not much of a retraction. That's not much of a retraction, if true. The dude with a $50 super chat says, thank you, David, for your show. I've been a member and fan for many years. Will continue to be. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you very, very much. And by the way, it's so great to be back on Twitch. I want to thank Micro Kimmy, who just gifted 5 subscriptions, and I so appreciate everybody on Twitch, as well as YouTube, as well as Facebook. It's great to be here. Thanks to L. Lorraine for another super chat. Oh, wait, no, I already did those. I'm sorry. I'm Mikey says, not bullying, David. It was irresponsible considering the media lumps innocent Palestinian civilians with terrorist groups. Listen, whatever you're saying, I'm telling you, the original title was more accurate. Okay. Steve Button says, sir, my subscription expired, but I'm planning on resubscribing next week. Please continue giving us your honest perspectives. I will. If I don't do that, then what do we have left? What do we have left? It would be crazy. Thanks to Desiree DeLong for gifting a subscription on my website. When are you estimated to hit 2 million on YouTube? Let's see. Social Blade has a tool that actually tells you projections. We are now scheduled to hit 2 million November 26th. That's fantastic. Originally, it looked like it was going to be the end of December. Thanks to your people subscribing on YouTube, we've now moved it into November, which is, it's like a month away. We are estimated to be 1 month from hitting a milestone that only 2 other left-wing shows have ever reached. Those shows are the Young Turks and Brian Tyler Cohen. There's no one else in left tube above 2 million. And we seem to be about a month away, which is fantastic. And big thank you to Lauren Kramer for gifting a subscription on my website. Very much appreciate that. Joe Biden scheduled to speak momentarily. We are 20 minutes away. Coverage on multiple platforms. I was hoping to also get a C-SPAN feed going. I think this one will go live closer to the time of. The other thing is, I wish I understood what was going on with these PBS streams. There are multiple streams, but it's all the same stuff. All right. Well, momentarily, we are going to be hearing from Joe Biden, and I think that will be important. Now, let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden and what's going on more generally. There has not been this much contrast between what's going on in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party for a very, very, very long time. Consider that on the Republican side right now, we have a presumptive nominee. I mean, listen, folks, unless something changes, Trump is going to be the nominee, period. There doesn't seem to be anyone who can get in the way. He has more support today than he has at any point during the primary. You have Republicans likely selecting a nominee who is facing 4 criminal trials, multiple civil trials, has been found to be a civilly liable rapist, and doesn't even defend democracy or the Constitution when it's inconvenient, okay? You have a Republican Party that is fractured enough that they ended up kicking out their own Speaker of the House, have had no speaker for 15, 16 days, continue to be unable to select a speaker, nominated a guy who's most known for not denouncing, or I guess we would call it not blowing the whistle on serial sexual assault when he was athletic director or assistant wrestling coach or something at Ohio State. But even he is now not going to be able to be speaker. It's a mess. The Republican Party is in complete and total disarray. And on the other hand, you have Joe Biden with a perfectly fine economy. You don't have to believe, I don't even have to go superlative and say this is the best economy. A perfectly fine economy. Going over to the Middle East, securing $100 million in aid for Gaza, negotiating that aid will be allowed into Gaza over the Egyptian Gaza border. Very few people even talk about the Egyptian Gaza border and the fact that Egypt also has a blockade. Negotiates that. Has very slickly, despite Republicans saying we don't want to keep funding Ukraine, even though it's an amazing deal what we're getting in Ukraine, 1% of our military budget with no boots on the ground has allowed Ukraine to defensively resist an invading force, Russia, that supposedly was going to take 2 weeks and they were going to take all of Ukraine. Okay? It's a bloodbath over there. It's deplorable what's going on. But Ukraine is waging a defensive war, and they've resisted a force that supposedly was going to take Ukraine in 2 weeks for 1% of our military budget. Joe Biden is now putting together funding for the border, for the Israeli-Palestinian situation, and for Ukraine all together. Hopefully he gets it passed. Biden is operating at 80 years old. Supposedly he's demented and doesn't even know what year it is. And this is the level on which he is operating. I actually think that Joe Biden may be the most successful president of my lifetime. That's not hyperbole. I actually am going to lay out the case. Doesn't mean he's the most progressive. Doesn't mean he's the most exciting. Incredible contrast right now from what's happening in the Democratic Party and what's happening in the Republican Party. It's quite stunning. Quite stunning. Super chats continue to come in. Canik Shep says, interesting overlap in how the same loud people who blame Israel for this also believe Ukraine and Zelensky's administration are a Nazi state or regime. Yes, there is overlap there. There is overlap there. Johnny Minogue says, hey, David, rather than giving my money to the House of Bezos this holiday season, I'm gifting David Pakman Show subscriptions. P.S. Hi, Producer Pat. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Always great to hear from Johnny. And I want to say thank you to Deborah Miller, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code FFOX. And thanks to our great friend from Tokyo, Kyoko Awaya, who has just gifted a subscription through the website. And lastly, also a big thank you to Guitar Goddess, who re-upped her subscription on Twitch. Folks, I may open phone lines tonight. If the people who say I'm so wrong about everything with the Hamas-Israel war want to call in and confront me and really show me who's boss, I'll open the phone lines after Biden's address. If we get to 100 website members and Twitch subscribers, Trumpists will be welcome. DSA people who hate me will be welcome. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. If we get to 100, we're currently at 20. White girls are my kryptonite, says David. My respect for you has tripled now that I see you're willing to stand your ground and not cave into the bullies. Bravo. I'm a proud supporter. Thank you. I appreciate that. KG says Biden may not be the sharpest tool in the shed these days, but his cabinet is pretty amazing. That's KG. Thank you, KG. Appreciate that. I'm seeing absolute toxicity. I haven't looked at the chat for a little bit. I'm seeing absolute total toxicity. Just a reminder to the moderators on YouTube as well as on Twitch. We're banning people for statements about the destruction of Israel, the destruction of Gaza, any sort of bloodthirsty stuff. We're banning all of it. There's just no place for it here. Maybe there's other channels that welcome that sort of stuff. We don't. So just don't even bother. Okay, it's not worth it. It's not funny and it's not fun. Are we on the same page? All right. Let's listen to a couple voicemails.
Hi, David. This is Golden from Utah. I've been watching the show for just about over a year and a half now.
Right.
I wanted to ask about the Trump trial case in Georgia. And, if Trump does lose the election, he'll have to face the documents case, even though he's put off his trial date for that friendly judge. Excuse me. But what I wanted to ask is, if Trump, and he likely will, get found guilty and convicted of the crimes he's, accused of.
Yeah.
My question is, because he will not be sentenced to any prison in the country, the only prison I can think of that could hold him would be ADX, which that's solitary confinement, 23 hours a day, 1.5 hours of quote-unquote freedom, which he would never put up with. So my question is, I wonder, do you think, David, that Trump would be subject to be wearing an ankle monitor?
Listen, I've talked about this before. I really don't think Trump's doing prison time. I really just don't. And I believe that if he does, even though you can build facilities for the highest profile inmates, I think it's going to be home confinement. The ankle bracelet, I don't know about. This is so speculative. I don't know that it's that useful to necessarily talk about it in those terms right now. But listen, we're going to follow it. Don't get me wrong. We're going to follow it, but I just don't. I've said what I have to say, I think, about the likelihood and circumstances of a Trump imprisonment. Thanks to Heigl and Boshimonos for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. I really do appreciate that. Also, thank you to Kyoko Awaya, who has just gifted 2 more subscriptions. Joe Erdolani has gifted 1 as well, which puts us at 25. Kyoko gifting another, and thanks to Daniel Ustra and Brian McGrath, putting us at 28. Remember, phone lines will open after the Biden speech if we get to 100, which we're approaching. Faldara says, recently discovered you. Thanks for your candid observations and clear, concise vocabulary on these complex topics. I appreciate that. Jose Perez Cabarca says, do you think Biden may lose some progressive votes with his very pro-Israel stance? What, they're going to go vote Trump? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so, no. And by the way, I mean, listen, Joe Biden has issued a number of warnings to Israel, has pushed Israel to not interfere with Gazan aid coming in through the Egyptian border, has warned Israel not to react in a way that's actually going to be counterproductive. I mean, I'm not saying Biden's anti-Israel. Of course, Biden is in line with the American status quo of supporting Israel. But if you look at the headlines from the last 2 days, now this might not get reported on whatever site you're looking at, but if you look at just standard reporting platforms, Associated Press, Reuters, etc., Biden has pressed in a number of areas where he has had successful outcomes. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If people don't want to see that, they're not going to. But Checkwes, same, I'm in the DSA. I can say that I think you have excellent commentary and always try to be as precise as possible with your accuracy. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I do everything I can, and they indicted me. Right? Do I have it?
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Thanks to Dennis Karen, Kyoko, Mart Fillion, and Kyoko again. A lot of free memberships dumping in. If you would like a free membership, you can go to davidpakman.com/free membership and input your information. We're giving them away. I've got a bunch of new ones to give away here. And, oh, by the way, I have an update. You know, I wrote these 2 children's books, and I always tell people you can buy them, and then you can donate them to a library. And people wrote to me and said, David, that's not, if you donate books to a library, they often donate them as well. If you want the library to carry the book, you submit what's called a materials request. And I did not know that. Now I know that. So the thing to do, folks, is to do a materials request. That's what we need to do. And you can check out the books at davidpakman.com/book. Let's listen to a couple of other voicemails here.
Hey, remember when Russia went into Ukraine and we all learned that Kiev was really pronounced Kyiv? Whenever there's a conflict around the world, Americans learn that we're pronouncing something wrong. Okay? This is what I'm learning now, okay? Kibbutz is now kibbutz, right? All I hear is kibbutz now. And they're saying Netanyahu's name different now. They're not saying Netanyahu. They're saying something a little bit different, and they're all saying it. Now, you always pronounce his name funny, but am I right on the kibbutz thing? Like, now all of a sudden we change how we pronounce stuff.
I haven't heard that, to be totally frank. I just have not noticed that. But I'll try to pay more attention to that. Let's see what else we've got here.
Yo, Parkman, love the hustle player. Hey, I'm not gonna fund the show. This Hamas-Israel thing, I was born into it. You feel me, player?
No, I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Well, I'm just a piece of it, moving it along. Anyways, again, player, love the hustle. Keep it strong. And don't ever falter. You're doing fantastic.
All right. Well, I don't know what this guy's talking about, but I mean that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Barno PQ says, do you think Cenk Uygur running for president will inspire other YouTube politicians to also run for president? I have no idea, guys. I mean, Cenk's not even eligible to be president legally. So I don't know what it's going to inspire anybody to do. Don Ustra says, please F Fox, so I'm giving you back the discount. Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very, very much. Thanks to Daniel Bowie, Lee Herr, Mackenzie Stewart, Melissa Gill, and Beth Gonzalez for signing up on my website, putting us at 37. Also, thank you to Sergi Azazel and Big Jeff signing up via Twitch. We are standing by for Joe Biden. President Joe Biden will address the nation momentarily. And I expect that he is going to tout some of the accomplishments diplomatically of the last 24 hours, and they are not insignificant. They are not insignificant. I will tell you that for damn sure. There is no question about it. Let's see if we do, I don't know, maybe like one more of these voicemails here. See if we have everything about today's topic.
I consider myself a leftist.
Me too.
But this situation right now has caused me, for the first time in my life, to root for Fox News to give your channel the final strike needed for its destruction.
What do you think, folks? Do we continue? This is what I'm talking about, okay? This is what we've been facing. Do I continue? Are we curious? Here's a guy hoping for my destruction. All right, let's hear it.
The way that you have been one-sided in discussing Israel, Palestine, and Hamas clearly shows your hand as a Zionist, which I've long suspected.
He suspected that even though I guess I wasn't saying, quote, Zionist things, I was secretly a two-faced Jew, Zionist, but I was hiding it. Oh, this guy's got me figured out. This I have to hear.
Just proves it that you have not ever talked about the deplorable conditions that Israel forced upon the Palestine people.
Okay. I have talked about the absolutely unacceptable conditions as a result of the Gazan blockade for a decade on this program. For a decade. This is an example of a criticism of something that is not actually what I say.
Stealing of their land.
Okay, stealing of their land. Now, do we think that when this gentleman says stealing of their land, he's talking about what? What is he talking about? When it comes to settlements, I have been completely clear that I am against the settlements, that my understanding is that they are illegal by international law. So if that's what he is referring to, I have been completely against it. I have also been honest with my audience that when you look since 1947 at many of the times that Israel's territory has expanded, it's been by land that they have obtained in defensive wars. Now, you can still be against that. You can still say, just because Israel was attacked and then defended itself and acquired more land in so doing, it was still wrong. That's fine to say. But folks like this, do they know what the 1947 arrangement was, what happened in 56 and 67 and 73 and the rejected Clinton negotiated agreement? Do they know about this stuff? I don't know. But this guy is hoping for my destruction.
The killing of innocent Palestinians.
They're called Palestinians, by the way. They're not called Palestinians. Yeah, listen, I've talked about all this stuff. So, you know, when I tell you guys that this is the sort of stuff that we're dealing with, that's an example, you know? It's not being made up. That's for damn sure. All right. So anyway, that guy's hoping that Fox gives me my third strike and that the channel ends. If you disagree, you can sign up on my website with the coupon code FFOX. Sharon Rothschild just did so with the coupon code FFOX and his new member number 40 today. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. We're going to hear from Joe Biden any minute now. Let's see what else we have here. I think we'll stick with the White House feed. It seems to be the best one. Let's look at some other super chats. Patrick says, do you think Gen Z voters will refrain from voting for Joe Biden because of Israel? This is either by staying home or voting for someone like Cornel West. I don't believe it's going to make a difference. I don't believe it's going to make a difference ultimately. A Red says, David Sir, longtime listener, keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Mentalists has been watching for about 6 months now. The Fox issue and your patient consideration regarding this horrible hospital situation convinced me to join the website. This is important work. Yeah, you know, I have to tell you, the internet is a completely toxic place. And although it's perfectly fine in terms of making a good living, it is toxic in a way that if you can make a good living not on the internet, and by that I mean like in a public facing way, the way I do it, I recommend it. Because, you know, we genuinely are trying to do the right thing here in terms of, hey, you know, there's these claims circulating about the Gaza hospital and there really is no evidence. I mean, it's a terrorist group saying, here's what happened. It's sort of like if Al-Qaeda were to say, hey, here's what happened. Do we believe that? I don't know. I mean, maybe not. So I just waited. I didn't even report anything initially. I just waited. And then people were furious. How did I not immediately report that 900 people died? Then we got a picture and then we got video and it's like, oh, there's like a 12-inch hole in the parking lot and some cars were burned. Something doesn't seem quite right here. And then it's like, oh, everybody got it wrong. Oh, well, you doubted it initially, so that's the problem. Come on, guys. Come on. Give me a break. It's bonkers stuff. Bonobo says, I've always considered myself a leftist, and I figured out after 2016 and the Ukraine war, and now that that most of the left is an embarrassment. No, so there I disagree with you. My audience, listen, at this point, my audience is in the millions, and it's not like a humble brag or anything. It's just the audience is literally in the millions. I mean, we've got almost 2 million subscribers on YouTube. We've got almost 750,000 followers on TikTok. We're approaching 500,000 followers on Facebook. There's the 100,000. I mean, at this point, our follower base is in the millions. And when I actually went to my audience and said, hey guys, here's a bunch of the stuff that I'm hearing, my instinct is most of my audience actually disagrees with it. Overwhelming emails. I mean, literally 99% saying, David, I don't email you because like you, I don't feel the need to contact people whose shows I listen to, but I'm with you all the way. The fact that almost 100 people have canceled memberships, but 500 people have signed up as a result of this. I actually don't agree with Bonobo. I think the vast majority of the left is on the right side of all of this stuff. It's just that they're busy living their lives, not contacting people. And, you know, I listen to probably close to 10 different podcasts. I've only ever been in touch with a few of the people. I listen to Stuff You Should Know. And I've been in touch with Chuck. Sam Harris has been a guest, and I will occasionally listen to episodes. I listen to Scott Galloway's podcast. He's been on the program. But for the most part, I don't even think to email the people whose shows I listen to. Cal Newport. I listen to Cal Newport's show, and he's been on the show. And by the way, when people start attacking the people who I listen to, you know, you can listen to stuff and read stuff because you believe it's important to listen to or to read without it being an endorsement of everything they say. I'll tell you guys right now, there are right-wing and center-right people whose work I read, not because I agree with everything they say. Have people ever, is this a thing? I read what David Brooks writes. I read what Bret Stephens writes. I read what Jonah Goldberg writes. I listen to the things that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mitt Romney say. It's not because I'm a fan in the sense of these are the people who get everything right. It's because I think they are normal, relatively intelligent people whose views I can disagree with, but still believe it's important to know what they're saying. I'm trying to get out of the echo chamber. Yeah, imagine having to apologize for this stuff. Guys, oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Eugene says the only strikes Fox should be worried about is from their female employees due to all that harassment. Keep up the good fight, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Curry says, I'm Palestinian. Heck, that anti-Semitic caller. He doesn't speak for me. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. And thanks to the dude for the $50 super chat as well. Really appreciate that too. All right, Joe Biden's scheduled to speak now. I'm expecting to hear from him any moment. Thanks to Beaver Wing and Lupin Sensei for the Twitch subscriptions, putting us at 42. Also, big thank you to Joe Rader, Scott Silver Bonito, Richard Krentz, and Joseph Yanover, who have signed up on my website, putting us at 46. I don't expect Joe Biden's remarks to be very long. He doesn't typically give super long speeches, which, by the way, I like. Trump's nearly 2-hour Castro-like tirades are not really my thing. Just get to the point, get to the point, and that's it's that simple. Couple other voicemails.
Yo, DVP, just curious on a little levity. Where are you going to be in 10 years? Where we see DP in 10? Well, I'm curious about it, Bug. What you want to do with your life later?
In 10 years, here we go.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We're facing an inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make today are going to determine the future for decades to come. That's what I'd like to talk with you about tonight. You know, earlier this morning I returned from Israel. They tell me I'm the first American president to travel there during the war. I met with the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet. And most movingly, I met with Israelis who had personally lived through horrific horror of the attack by Hamas on the 7th of October. More than 1,300 people slaughtered in Israel, including at least 32 American citizens. Scores of innocents, from infants to the elderly grandparents, Israelis, Americans taken hostage. As I told the families of Americans being held captive by Hamas, we're pursuing every avenue to bring their loved ones home. As president, there is no higher priority for me than the safety of Americans held hostage. The terrorist group Hamas unleashed pure, unadulterated evil in the world. But sadly, the Jewish people know perhaps better than anyone that there is no limit to the depravity of people when they want to inflict pain on others. In Israel, I saw people who were strong, determined, resilient, and also angry, in shock and in deep, deep pain. I also spoke with President Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, and reiterated that the United States remains committed to the Palestinian people's right to dignity and to self-determination. The actions of Hamas terrorists don't take that right away. Like so many other, I'm heartbroken by the tragic loss of Palestinian life, including the explosion at the hospital in Gaza, which was not done by the Israelis. We mourn every innocent life lost. We can't ignore the humanity of innocent Palestinians who only want to live in peace and have an opportunity. You know, the assault on Israel echoes nearly 20 months of war, tragedy, and brutality inflicted on the people of Ukraine, people that were very badly hurt since Putin launched his all-out invasion. We've not forgotten the mass graves, the bodies found bearing signs of torture, rape used as a weapon by the Russians, and thousands of Ukrainian children forcibly taken into Russia, stolen from their parents. It's sick. Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas uses Palestinian civilians as human shields, and innocent Palestinian families are suffering greatly because of them. Meanwhile, Putin denies Ukraine has or ever had real statehood. He claims the Soviet Union created Ukraine. And just 2 weeks ago, he told the world that if the United States and our allies withdraw, and if the United States withdraw, our allies will as well, military support for Ukraine would have, quote, a week left to live, but we're not withdrawing. I know these conflicts can seem far away, and it's natural to ask, why does this matter to America? So let me share with you why making sure Israel and Ukraine succeed is vital for America's national security. You know, history has taught us that when terrorists don't pay a price for their terror, when dictators don't pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos and death and more destruction. They keep going, and the cost and the threats to America and the world keep rising. So if we don't stop Putin's appetite for power and control in Ukraine, he won't limit himself just to Ukraine. Putin's already threatened to remind Poland that their Western land was a gift from Russia. One of his top advisors, a former president of Russia, has called Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania Russia's Baltic provinces. These are all NATO allies. For 75 years, NATO has kept peace in Europe and has been the cornerstone of American security. And if Putin attacks a NATO ally, we will defend every inch of NATO which the treaty requires and calls for. We'll have something that we do not seek. Make it clear, we do not seek. We do not seek to have American troops fighting in Russia or fighting against Russia. Beyond Europe, we know that our allies, and maybe most importantly our adversaries and competitors, are watching. They're watching our response in Ukraine as well. And if we walk away and let Putin erase Ukraine's independence, would-be aggressors around the world would be emboldened to try the same. The risk of conflict and chaos could spread in other parts of the world, in the Indo-Pacific, in the Middle East, especially in the Middle East. Iran is supporting Russia in Ukraine, and is supporting Hamas and other terrorist groups in the region, and will continue to hold them accountable, I might add. The United States and our partners across the region are working to build a better future for the Middle East. One where the Middle East is more stable, better connected to its neighbors, and through innovative projects like the India-Middle East-Europe Rail Corridor that I announced this year at the summit of the world's biggest economies. More predictable markets, more employment, less rage, less grievances, less war when connected. It benefits the people who would benefit the people of the Middle East and would benefit us. American leadership is what holds the world together. American alliances are what keep us, America, safe. American values are what make us a partner that other nations want to work with. To put all that at risk, if we walk away from Ukraine, if we turn our backs on Israel, it's just not worth it. That's why tomorrow I'm going to send to Congress an urgent budget request to fund America's national security needs, to support our critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine, is a smart investment that's going to pay dividends for American security for generations. Help us keep American troops out of harm's way. Help us build a world that is safer, more peaceful, more prosperous for our children and grandchildren. In Israel, we must make sure that they have what they need to protect their people today and always. The security package I'm sending to Congress and asking Congress to do is an unprecedented commitment to Israel's security that will sharpen Israel's qualitative military edge, which we've committed to, the qualitative military edge. We're going to make sure Iron Dome continues to guard the skies over Israel. We're going to make sure other hostile actors in the region know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading. Look, at the same time, President Netanyahu and I discussed again yesterday the critical need for Israel to operate by the laws of war. That means protecting civilians in combat as best as they can. The people of Gaza urgently need food, water, and medicine. Yesterday, in discussions with the leaders of Israel and Egypt, I secured an agreement for the first shipment of humanitarian assistance from the United Nations to Palestinian civilians in Gaza. If Hamas does not divert or steal these shipments, we're going to provide an opening for sustained delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians. As I said in Israel, as hard as it is, we cannot give up on peace. We cannot give up on a two-state solution. Israel and Palestinians equally deserve to live in safety, dignity, and peace. You know, and here at home, we have to be honest with ourselves. In recent years, too much hate has given too much oxygen, fueling racism, the rise of anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia, right here in America. It's also intensified in the wake of recent events that led to the horrific threats and attacks that both shock us and break our hearts. On October 7th, terror attacks have triggered deep scars and terrible memories in the Jewish community. Today, Jewish families worried about being targeted in school, wearing symbols of their faith, walking down the street, or going out about their daily lives. And I know many of you in the Muslim American community, the Arab American community, the Palestinian American community, and so many others are outraged and hearted, saying to yourselves, here we go again with Islamophobia and distrust we saw after 9/11. Just last week, a mother was brutally stabbed. A little boy, here in the United States, a little boy who just turned 6 years old was murdered in their home outside of Chicago. His name was Wadiha, a proud American, a proud Palestinian American family. We can't stand by and stand silent when this happens. We must, without equivocation, denounce anti-Semitism. We must also, without equivocation, denounce Islamophobia. And to all you hurting, those of you hurting, I want you to know I see you. You belong. And I want to say this to you. You're all America. You're all American. This is in a moment, in moments like these, when fear and suspicion, anger and rage run hard, that we have to work harder than ever to hold on to the values that make us who we are. We're a nation of religious freedom, freedom of expression. We all have a right to debate and disagree without fear of being targeted in schools or workplaces or in our communities. We must renounce violence and vitriol. See each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. When I was in Israel yesterday, I said that when America experienced the hell of 9/11, we felt enraged as well. While we sought and got justice, we made mistakes. So I cautioned the government of Israel not to be blinded by rage.
Oh boy.
In Congress, to make sure we can continue to.
Should we bail on the feed and go to a different feed?
They are succeeding. When Putin invaded Ukraine, he thought he would take Kyiv and all of Ukraine in a matter of days. Well, over a year later, Putin has failed, and he continues to fail. Kyiv still stands because of the bravery of the Ukrainian people. Ukraine has regained more than 50% of the territory Russian troops once occupied, backed by U.S.-led coalition of more than 50 countries around the world, all doing its part to support Kyiv. What would happen if we walked away? We are the essential nation. Meanwhile, Putin has turned to Iran and North Korea to buy attack drones and ammunition to terrorize Ukrainian cities and people. From the outset, I've said, I will not send American troops to fight in Ukraine. All Ukraine is asking for is help, for the weapons, munitions, the capacity, the capability to push invading Russian forces off their land, and the air defense systems to shoot down Russian missiles before they destroy Ukrainian cities. Let me be clear about something. We send Ukrainian equipment sitting in our stockpiles. And when we use the money allocated by Congress, we use it to replenish our own stores, our own stockpiles with new equipment. Equipment that defends America and is made in America. Patriot missiles for air defense batteries, made in Arizona. Artillery shells manufactured in 12 states across the country, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and so much more. You know, just as in World War II, today patriotic American workers are building the arsenal of democracy and serving the cause of freedom.
This is a little dystopian.
Close with this. Earlier this year, I boarded Air Force One for a secret flight to Poland. There I boarded a train with blacked out windows for a 10-hour ride each way to Kyiv, to stand with the people of Ukraine ahead of the one-year anniversary of their brave fight against Putin. I'm told I was the first American to enter a war zone not controlled by the United States military since President Lincoln. With me was just a small group of security personnel and a few advisors. But when I exited that train and met Zelensky, President Zelensky, I didn't feel alone. I was bringing with me the idea of America, the promise of America, to the people who are today fighting for the same things we fought for 250 years ago: freedom, independence, self-determination. And as I walked through Kyiv with President Zelensky, with air raid sirens sounding in the distance, I felt something I've always believed, more strongly than ever before. America is a beacon to the world. Still. Whereas my friend Madeleine Albright said, the indispensable nation. Tonight, there are innocent people all over the world who hope because of us, who believe in a better life because of us, who are desperate not to be forgotten by us, and are waiting for us. But time is of the essence. I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibility as a great nation. We cannot and will not let terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin win. I refuse to let that happen. In moments like these, we have to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. The United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. My fellow Americans, thank you for your time. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
All right, there it is. President Joe Biden with a statement, as expected, not only on the situation in Hamas, with Hamas and Israel, but also with Ukraine and Russia. Here's my immediate reaction. Okay, listen, guys. Biden's 80, jet lagged, and has had a stutter his whole life. So weighing in on the delivery of the speech is just not super interesting to me. Let's weigh in on the content. First of all, Joe Biden talking both about Israel and Palestinians and the rights of all and so on and so forth. Of course, he leaned more heavily on the pro-Israeli side, as that is American policy. So that is not surprising. I like that he both pressed Israeli leaders and is publicly stating, we're going to send in the aid. It's going to be allowed in through the Egyptian border. If it is not stolen by Hamas, there's going to be a continued gravy train of aid, for lack of a better term. I like that. I found the part where he talks about how great it is that bullets are made in Pennsylvania extraordinarily military industrial complex-y for me. And it's a little bit cringe. Now, I don't think he's wrong. It's American jobs. Okay, fine. But that was the most cringy part of it for me. Something about it's going to be great when we send all of the American-made bullets around the world. It's really hard for someone with my leftist progressive views to feel thrilled about that. It's just a hard thing to cheer, you know? It's sort of like, hey, we're painting our missiles with the gay pride colors or something. It's like, okay, but do we really need so many missiles? So anyway, beyond that, I mean, much of what he said was expected. I do think that Joe Biden is doing a very good job of what he does best, which is diplomacy and foreign policy, foreign relations, dealing with leaders around the world. Do we think Trump would have pressed Israel to say, hey, we're going to send in aid and we're going to send it in through Egypt and you're not going to do anything about it? No, I don't think so. Adam says, thank you for all you do, David. There's tons of us who support you and know the difference between your and the you are contraction. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's a very, very important thing to hear. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I don't care much for the trolls. We've banned a bunch of them. This will conclude today's coverage. I hope to stream the next Republican debate if we can do away with at least one of the strikes that Fox dropped on us. And that's where we are. That's where we end it. And we'll have a new program tomorrow, the podcast, the YouTube channel. Folks, let's get to the 2 million, okay? On your way out, just hit that subscribe button. I need 46,866 subscribers. Give me a break. All right? We'll see you very soon. Thank you. I guess I have an update to install. All right. See everybody soon.